Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this lesson, we will talk about something every programmer deals with: errors in Python. Errors are not failures. They are messages from Python telling us what went wrong. If we read them carefully, they help us fix our mistakes. We will cover the three most common error types: syntax errors, runtime errors, and logical errors. Let's look at each one step by step. A syntax error happens when we break Python's grammar rules. The code is written incorrectly, so Python refuses to run it. Let's look at a couple of examples. In the first example, we want to run a simple if statement that prints hello, but we forget the colon at the end of the if line. That colon is required by Python's syntax. So let me do it. If true, print hello. And let me run this. What we expect, the code should print hello, but what we actually get is an error. And this error, Python is saying, I was expecting a colon here, but I didn't find one. In the second example, here we are trying to print a message, but we forget to close the parentheses. For example, print hello world. Python doesn't know where the statement ends. Let me run this. What we expect, it should print hello world. What actually happens is an error. Python says syntax error, incomplete input. So Python reached the end of the line but was still waiting for a closing parenthesis. Now let's talk about runtime errors. A runtime error means the code looks fine, but something goes wrong while the program is running. Python understands the syntax, but the operation itself is invalid. For example, in this example, we want to divide 10 by 0. The syntax is correct, but mathematically, this does not make sense. You cannot divide by 0. For example, let me create a variable result, and that is 10 divided by 0. And let me print result. And let me run that. So what we expect is a number. What actually happens is an error, 0 division error, division by 0. So Python is saying, I tried to divide by 0, but that operation is impossible. In the next example, we want to print the value of a variable x, but we never created or assigned x. Python doesn't know what we are talking about. Print x. Let me run this. So what we expect, it should print the value of x. What actually happens is an error, and the error says name error, name x is not defined. Python is telling us you are trying to use a variable called x, but I don't know what that is because you never defined it. Now let's talk about logical errors. Logical errors are the hardest to catch because the code runs without crashing. The problem is that the logic is wrong, so the output is not what we intended. In this example, we want to calculate the average of three numbers, 10, 20, and 30, but we forget to use parentheses. So the math happens in the wrong order. Let me define those variables. A, B, and C equals 10, 20, 30. Define average, which is A plus B plus C divided by 3, and let me print average is average. So let me run this. We are gonna face actually two errors here. What we expect is the average of the three numbers 10, 20, and 30. So that should be 20. But let me run this and see what we actually see. So there is one error, syntax error. So syntax error was the first type of error that we discussed. And what it says, invalid syntax, perhaps you forgot a comma. That's right, we forgot a comma here. So basically, I can correct that and go back, run it one more time. It works perfectly with no error, it doesn't crash, but the result is not correct. So the average of these three numbers should be 20, but what I get here is 40. So Python followed operator precedence rules. It did 3 divided by or C divided by 3, basically 30 divided by 3, that is 10, then 10 plus 20 plus 10, that's 40. The logic is wrong, not the syntax. So in order to correct this, the correct version is something like this. Now the average is 20. So to recap, syntax errors, Python can't even start the program because the code is written incorrectly. When we talk about runtime errors, the program starts but crashes on a specific operation. And about logical errors, the program runs but gives the wrong result. We don't expect that result. So always read the error message carefully. They tell you both what went wrong and where it happened. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss future Python lessons. Also, check out my other videos on debugging techniques, error handling with try, except, and Python fundamentals. See you in the next one.